So YouTube has changed the monetization rules. I'm not going to say I'm surprised, but everyone you're going to hear online is going to be freaking out about this. Everyone's scared, panicking. What do I do? What do I do? I'm a small YouTube channel. I'm here to tell you, man, you have no reason to worry. And why this new YouTube rule change for monetization is actually a good thing for all creators. So first of all, if you are unaware of the change, YouTube just recently made it so that instead of needing 4,000 watch hours, they doubled it. You're going to need 8,000 watch hours. And naturally, everybody is panicking and freaking out because they can barely even hit 4K watch hours. Now, I totally understand the panic. I totally understand why everyone's scared. But here's why you don't need to freak out. If you were a YouTuber, or if you are a YouTuber that is 100% reliant on AdSense, and especially even going further than that, especially if you are getting like no views, like you're scraping by every week, every month, you are scraping by, getting the bare minimum. Bro, you probably weren't making a lot of money anyway. And to be honest, it's not a good way to go about YouTube if you want the most money that you can make. Now you might be asking, well, who the hell are you, man? Who the hell are you talking about? This is a new channel I made just because I wanted to talk about something other than what I normally do. But that's just to say I have ran YouTube channels before, and each time it is the same thing. You have to make good content to be picked up and watched. A lot of people on here on YouTube try and sell you this dream of like, oh, how to make 4,000 watch hours, how to get 8,000 watch hours, how to get 1,000 subscribers. You know, all of the milestone things, how to hit it the quickest, how to hit it in 24 hours, all this stuff. However, if you were to take a step back and look at who uses YouTube, you would see why a lot of this information is actually useless. As much as I personally wish you could game the system and get as many views and blah, 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 typically what it comes back to is needing to make content that real human beings watch, because that is who's making the money. So the first reason why this is actually a good thing is because it's going to force people to start making actual content, like real good content. Now, of course, there's always going to be slop channels. There's always going to be channels that get on here with an AI voice and they just kind of AI generate an idea and go about it that way. There's always going to be slop. However, with these new milestones, I feel like the slop is going to be heavily reduced because a lot of people aren't going to want to get on here now that they know they're going to have to reach 8K and they're going to have to reach, I don't know how many it is for short form. I'm not even talking about short form, but even that's doubled. Now, the second reason why this is actually a good thing is because it's going to force creators to understand how money actually works online. What do I mean by that? All I mean is that, of course, you can get paid from AdSense. However, majority of people that's making good money on YouTube are not relying on AdSense. Instead, they are relying on products that they make or they own and selling them. Or likewise, they are also relying on other brands and sponsors to sponsor them. However, I will say the product is more important, because brands probably will go off of view count and they probably will go off of subscriber count a little bit, mostly just views. But still, that's a form of making money that's not just reliant on YouTube itself. This is one of the most underrated reasons why YouTube's new rules are actually good, because understanding that if you have a product, you'll make more money is kind of fundamental. And I feel like there's so many people on here that I see every day that if they just sold like a little something, they would be making, 1,000, 2,000 plus a month from what they normally make just from selling basic little cheap products. Ultimately though, regardless of those reasons, if you are a new YouTuber, the main thing that I suggest you really start cracking down on, especially if you're worried, is just making better content. And all I mean by that is making content that is actually watchable, that has some type of value, that has some type of reason why someone would click on that video. That is what YouTube pretty much has always been. It's making content for human beings, not the algorithm, because the algorithm honestly does not exist. Yeah, sure, like the algorithm is going to feed certain people videos and maybe it'll influence a little bit on, if the video does a little bit better or whatnot. However, if Mr. Beast gets on a side channel and starts making content, he will probably blow up in 1 to 3 months and, become Mr. Beast again. Why? Because he has the formula. He knows what works, and that's all you really need to do on YouTube. You just got to test a bunch, see what works, and eventually you will hit those milestones. If you were trying to get 4K watch hours and you just never could, and it was this impossible hard task, there is a good chance, obviously, that you won't hit the 8K watch hours, but not because it's hard or it's impossible. It's because you're just looking at YouTube in the wrong way. Like, if you're looking at YouTube like, okay, I gotta hit 4K, I gotta hit 1,000 subs, you naturally it's gonna take you way longer because you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Now, of course, you can do it for money. I'm not saying, oh, don't do YouTube for money. All I'm saying is, if you make content just with the premise of, okay, I have to optimize it to make it this and that, bro, human beings are watching the content. If you make good content, more people will watch no matter what. And by the time you hit the 4K subscribers that you think is impossible, you'll probably hit, not the 4K subscriber, I mean the 4K watch hours. By the time you hit that, you will probably subsequently hit the 8K watch hours, just because that's how it works. If you make really good content, you're gonna get consistent 1,000 views, 1,000. With all that being said, guys, I just wanted to come on here and say, please do not be scared of this new update. It's actually a good thing, and it might even be what pushes us into a new renaissance of good content. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I love you.